Veganário Fest 2020. Não sei se estiveram connosco à hora do almoço, estivemos a cozinhar com a Maria Aragão, estivemos a cozinhar todos juntos, foi uma forma de ultrapassar estas dificuldades que a pandemia causou. O veganário tem sempre um almoço muito especial, onde todos comemos juntos e nós conseguimos almoçar juntos. Foi uma boa sorda. Quem não almoçou ficou com a receita gravada na nossa página, com todo o workshop, e pode cozinhar num outro dia. Amanhã vamos ter um programa idêntico, mas dessa vez com a Gabriela Oliveira, que também vai fazer às 11 da manhã um workshop, e depois vamos almoçar todos juntos, mais uma vez, como o veganário merece. Da parte de tarde, tanto hoje como amanhã, vamos ter palestras de diversos temas, desde a saúde, a fitness, a problemas da sustentabilidade. Vamos ter também uma palestra muito especial que faz a ligação entre o sistema que temos hoje de alimentação e as pandemias, portanto muito diversificado, mas vamos dar um relevo especial à comunicação. Já começamos hoje com a Carol, agora temos o John, que também nos vai falar sobre comunicação. O John Oberg fala-nos de Richmond, dos Estados Unidos da América, é assim este veganário este ano internacional. John, muito obrigada, thank you so much. Quem é que é o John? O John foi convidado para o veganário porque ele é consultor profissional de redes sociais e ele vai falar-nos então sobre como usar as redes sociais para promovermos o veganismo e defender os animais em geral de forma mais eficaz. Isto é de extrema relevância, principalmente por causa da pandemia, porque se já fazíamos ativismo de muitas formas, agora vemos-nos mais limitados a este formato online, portanto, pareceu-nos um tema de bastante relevo. E o John tem uma experiência única que pode partilhar connosco, porque para além de ser profissional na área, ele tem mesmo muita experiência. Para além do seu projeto individual, ele trabalhou como diretor de comunicação social em grandes organizações internacionais, como a Human League, que não sei se conhecem, mas provavelmente sim, que já tem mais de 1 milhão de seguidores, e também a Vegan Outreach, que tem quase 1 milhão de seguidores e que muito devem esse aumento de seguidores ao trabalho do John. Portanto, esperamos ter bastantes dicas para aprender com ele, como é que ele tem feito esse trabalho. Essas duas organizações focam-se bastante também em sensibilizar as pessoas relativamente aos animais utilizados na pecuária para a alimentação, porque sabemos que são os animais que mais sofrem em todo o mundo, tanto em número como aquilo que passam para até chegarem aos matadouros e depois ao nosso prato, e portanto é um tema que merece toda a nossa atenção. Sem mais delongas, John, thank you so much. Muito obrigada a todos os que nos estão a ouvir, tanto aqui na sala, que pedimos que deixem as vossas questões. Encontram aqui em baixo uma caixinha Q&A, onde podem ir deixando as perguntas que vos venham à cabeça durante a palestra. No final da palestra, eu vou ler as perguntas, o John responde em direto. E a boa notícia que o veganário também conseguiu é que temos connosco o Rui Silva, também um ativista de longa data, já conhecido de muitos. O Rui é tradutor profissional e vai estar em simultâneo a traduzir o que o John nos estiver a dizer. Para o efeito, encontram também no rodapé um símbolozinho do mundo e escolhem o canal da língua que querem ouvir. Se escolherem em inglês, ouvem em inglês, ouvem a voz do John. Se escolherem em português, vão ouvir o Rui, que vai fazer com certeza uma tradução fiel e não vão perder nada. Muito obrigada também a ti, Rui, que nunca falhas nestes eventos tão importantes e que dás este trabalho, que é de um ativismo, olha, nem te digo, não tem preço. Muito obrigada. So, John, maybe you know what I was talking about. I was talking very fast. So, but you trust me, I was telling about your experience, because you know the work you have been doing and you have done with the Humane League and the Vegan Outreach is just amazing. And now we want to know, how can we do it too? So thank you so much for accepting the invitation and for sharing all your experience with us at Veganari Fest.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I'm so honored to be here, and it's pretty fun because I've never been introduced in a foreign language before, at least not in recent memory, especially when I have no clue what you say. So I will trust that you said some good stuff, and maybe threw some bad stuff in there too. That's okay. And yeah, it's great to be here with you. I'm going to share my screen so that I can get my presentation rolling.
I'll be here with you. And then in the end, we'll be talking a little. So don't forget, oh, I was talking in English. Yeah, but don't forget to leave your questions at the Q&A box. Não se esqueçam então de deixar as vossas questões e no final o John responde. John, thank you so much.
Thank you. And you can hear me, see me, and see my screen, correct?
Yes, it's perfect.
Okay, excellent. Well, it's great to be here with everybody. This is really cool. And I want to say a big shout out to Elisa for introducing or to bringing me to this presentation. She is awesome. I was actually supposed to come to Portugal earlier this year in March. And if you all remember what was happening in March across the world, it was something that led to me not being able to come. And so it got pushed back and ultimately pushed back even further. So it's looking like I'll actually come for an in-person visit with the help of Elisa, helping to coordinate this visit in the spring. So should anybody here be in Lisbon, Portugal, I will be there hopefully in the spring, but I'm very happy to talk to you all right now. So as I present, feel free to take notes. It's totally fine if you take screenshots, if you take pictures with your phone, if you're writing down with pen and paper, whatever you like to be able to take some notes. And I will just get into it. So first of all, I would like everybody on this call to close your eyes and picture yourself as a pig on a slaughter truck. So you spend months and months in an unremarkable building in the middle of Europe, and you know nothing but pain and sadness and sorrow. And then one day you are released from your cage and you are taken to a unremarkable looking truck, and you see the sun in the sky for the first time, and you get excited thinking that you might be experiencing something new, something good. And then you are loaded onto a truck, packed in so tightly that you can barely move an inch. And then you take off, and through all weather extremes, you go hour after hour after hour until you end up at another unremarkable looking building that is a slaughterhouse. And you are let off of this truck and pushed towards a area where you are then shackled and killed, and then cut up and then processed as bacon or as ham or as pork. And this was your life. And this is the life of so many farm animals, pigs, cows, chickens. And most people in society just don't understand the cruel reality that these animals are facing in today's world. But that is why social media provides this incredible opportunity for us to advocate for these animals. So I went to a vigil put on by Los Angeles Animal Save a couple of years ago, and I made eye contact with this pig for a good 60 seconds. And this was outside of a slaughterhouse in downtown Los Angeles. And I recorded this video and I uploaded this video to Twitter. And as a result, it has been retweeted thousands of times. It has received hundreds of comments, and it's been seen almost 200,000 times. So this pig's life was not in vain. So the sorrow and the sadness that these animals experience are no longer happening in vain, because you and I and everybody watching this right now have this incredible power at our fingertips, the power of social media to raise awareness like we've never been able to raise in the history of humankind. Now, you are part of a movement to give these animals a voice like they've never had. Social media is essentially the new frontier for animal rights. Never in the history of the world have we had the ability to communicate with people across the globe in an instant. It is truly miraculous. And I believe that with this new form of communication, we are going to achieve animal liberation. But the speed of which this day comes, of course, depends entirely on the work that you and I and all other animal advocates really put into this. The potential of social media is boundless. There is so much potential to create a kinder world for animals. In my years of doing this, my content has, in the last couple of years, just doing this as an independent activist, I have had tens of millions of views of my content. And it's not magic. I am not a social media guru. I do not have a PhD in social media science. I'm a regular guy who looked at what was working on social media and what wasn't working and changed my approach accordingly. And this is something that everybody can do. And even if you're not getting tens of millions of views, if you can go from dozens to hundreds of views, those views are what is going to make people change. And for me, it was being exposed to this kind of content, the cruel reality that farm animals face. That is what drove me to change. And this is what drives so many people to change. So social media is an excellent form of activism to supplement the work that you're already doing on the ground and to really add it as a bonus. So if you're out there giving away free vegan food samples or protesting or doing other kinds of activism, social media can really take this to the next level exponentially. And it's especially vital in these times right now, given the coronavirus and the lockdowns, where travel is difficult and person-to-person outreach is more difficult. There are more active users than ever on social media, and this is a great opportunity to up your social media game and to improve it. So which platforms to focus on? That is a question that a lot of advocates have who want to use social media more effectively. There is no easy answer. What really depends on is what value you find in different social media platforms and where your comfort level is and where your niche is. So for me, I focus on those first three primarily: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. But LinkedIn, Reddit, YouTube, Pinterest, Snapchat, TikTok, the list can go on and on. There are lots and lots of platforms. And the important thing is the work that you're doing working on these social media platforms? And you have to really ask yourself that. And I really recommend finding which platforms you find most comfortable with, but also find there to be a lot of value for the potential work that you're going to be doing. Now, the two most important metrics to pay attention to on social media are growth and reach. So growth is essentially the amount of followers you are receiving. So obviously all of us start with 0 followers, but then we get a few dozen, a few hundred followers, and you want to get more and more and more. Why is this important? Because the more followers you have, the more people to see your content. And it is so important that non-vegans out there see our content, because you and I and everybody on this call, we pretty much know what's happening behind the closed doors of factory farms and slaughterhouses, right? Most people out there don't truly know the extent, or if they do know that it's bad, they might think, yeah, they probably don't live the best lives, and then they stop there. It is our duty to really show these individuals just the true horrors that these animals are facing. The other thing you need to pay attention to is reach. Reach essentially means more eyeballs on your content, which means more people to share your content. And that means reaching more and more people. So you can have your content be exponentially seen by more and more people. So for example, I told you earlier how I've had tens of millions of views on from my social media posts. Well, I only have like 130,000 followers between Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. So where are those other numbers coming from? Those other numbers are coming from shares, people sharing my content. So it is so incredibly vital that the people who are seeing our content feel compelled to share the content. And on top of this, the more shares your content are getting and the more views your content are receiving, the less and less vegan your audience is going to be. And why is that important? It is so vital for us to reach non-vegans. There isn't a ton of great good that comes out of other vegans liking you, right? Because they're already vegan. They can't get any more vegan. What we need to focus our energy on are the non-vegans out there, because they are the people who are actively making choices every single day that cause harm to animals. And it's for that reason that it's really important that we do what we can to get as many shares of our content as possible. So effective strategy in the age of social media. So figure out what you want out of social media. What is your niche? So some of you might be watching this right now and think, oh, I really love food photography. I really love cooking up a good vegan meal and getting lots of really great high quality shots, uploading it to my Instagram. Others out there might be activists who go undercover in factory farms or slaughterhouses and get footage. These are two very different types of individuals, both very important. So figure out what your niche is and run with it. And on top of that, set goals for yourself for engagement. So how many people are liking your content, commenting on it, sharing it, and growth. How many new followers do you want per day or per week or per month? But also manage your expectations. Growth and progress is going to be very, very slow in the beginning. That's okay. With consistency, you will get there. With consistency and good content, and if you have patience, you will absolutely start reaching more and more people. So in the beginning, you might be only reaching 10, 20, 30 people, but then in a few weeks or a few months, it'll turn to hundreds, and then eventually thousands, and maybe one day millions. The most important thing to remember for social media, especially for new social media users out there or advocates who just want to take social media seriously for like the first time, it's you versus the algorithm. So it is very important that the content that you are pushing out to your audience is as good as possible. It needs to get as much engagement as possible. You want those likes, you want those comments, you want those shares. Why? Not because it's important to be popular, but it's because Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all these social media platforms out there prioritize individuals and pages that have content that people are interested in. So if you're posting, pictures of the banana that you're eating and nobody is liking it, maybe that isn't a good use of your limited social media real estate. So you really want to frame your content and your captions to be as engaging as possible. And one little trick to getting this is using emotion. Talk about how this content makes you feel. Tell people, connect with your users on an emotional, or connect with your followers on an emotional level, and they will be more active and take your content more seriously. So I have 2 homework assignments for everybody. Who knew they were going to get homework today? So for one, I want you to spend an hour looking at how other successful social media activists use social media, because you do not need to reinvent the wheel. Look at what is working and what's not working. And they don't have to be advocates who just use social media exclusively, but if they are activists and they do happen to use social media, take a look at their platforms and see which of their content seems to get more engagement, which seems to get less engagement. How are they interacting with their audience? Spend an hour doing this and you will learn a lot. The next homework assignment I have is to spend 30 minutes looking at your own social media presence. So scroll back on your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, whatever, and see what resonated with your audience and what didn't resonate with your audience. You need to learn what is working and what isn't working. And the stuff that is working, do more of it. The stuff that's not working, either try doing it differently or do it less or don't do it at all. Additionally, always put yourself in your audience's shoes. Why is this important? Because you are not your audience, okay? You need to remember how this stuff looks from their perspective, not from your perspective. So obviously, everything that you would be interested in posting, you would be interested in, right? Of course. Even if it's as stupid as eating a banana, you might not think twice about it, but you might think, oh yeah, this banana is great. I definitely want to post about this. But if your audience isn't interested in that, then don't waste your precious social media real estate. And of course, it's important to remember to appeal to non-vegans more than vegans. And I talked about that a bit earlier. Additionally, you want to post consistently. So don't just post once a week and then forget about social media, and then a week or two later, hop on again and post. Post consistently. Your audience will expect it, and social media platforms will reward you if you are posting consistently. So I highly recommend scheduling posts in advance. You can do this on platforms. My preference is to use third-party software. I use a platform called Buffer, which is great. It's very simple and user-friendly and very reasonably priced. And you can schedule posts in advance. So I will often have posts scheduled for 1 or 2 weeks in advance. Of course, if something big happens in the vegan world and I want to comment on it, then I will jump in there and post that live. But scheduling posts really allows you to keep your sanity and to not have to wake up every day thinking, okay, what am I going to post? Additionally, for effective strategy, the small stuff matters. So fill out your bio, use the link that you are allowed in your social media platforms, choose your profile photos carefully, and remember that effective social media activism is not just one and done posting. You don't just post once a week, hop off for a week, and then maybe jump on again, post again, then hop off for a week. If you want to be really good and effective at social media advocacy, it requires constant dialogue and monitoring. So I'm not saying stay glued to your phone 24/7, but what I do recommend is being active throughout the day when you can. For me, it's really important to have a good work balance life. So on the weekends, I spend significantly less time on social media. But Monday through Friday, during the working day, I really invest a lot. I spend I may just tweet once or twice per day, but I'm jumping on there regularly, liking tweets, replying to tweets, replying to direct messages, and so on. So effective communication in the age of social media, work to empower and inspire your audience, not just depress them. Don't go all in on any single emotion. Doom and gloom is okay. Talking about how bad it is for farm animals is okay, but in moderation. If you do this every day, all day, that could be problematic because a lot of your audience are going to get burned out. They are going to not want to see horrible stuff day in and day out. So they might follow you for a few days, few weeks, few months, but eventually they're going to unfollow you or they're going to just lose interest if all you're posting is the sad stuff. So it's important to blend sad stuff with happier content as well. And the most important thing to remember for effective communication in the age of social media is to not be a jerk. When is the last time you saw someone being a jerk and said, I want to be like that person? Probably never. So it's important when you're interacting with others, especially non-vegans and especially people who disagree with you, it's very important to take a deep breath and cool down for a few minutes before replying, because it is so vital that we're winning hearts and minds, not just arguments and debates. So to get a little bit more in the nitty-gritty of social media, you got different types of posts, okay? You've got videos, you've got photos, you've got text-only posts, you've got links, You also have polls, and there's a few other kinds of types, but those are the main ones. For creating content and for editing content, there are so many free or cheap platforms for you to use. Lumen 5, great for videos. Photop is basically free Photoshop. If you go to photop.com. Canva, great. Canva and Over are great photo editing. Over is really great for the phone. Canva is really great on the web. And there's so many more. So whatever you're looking to do on social media, I guarantee you there are lots of resources out there that can help you make it happen. Organize your content. So if you've been an activist for 10 years, or if you just got started, it is really good to have all of your content in one single place using one of these kinds of platforms. Have all your photos and all your videos and anything that you've done animal advocacy wise in one place. If you went to an animal sanctuary a few times, upload those folders to one central location. This is going to be so convenient for you when you need to find content, especially if you're away from your home computer or traveling, or if you need to share this content with other people. So rather than just scrolling endlessly through your photo scroll on your phone, trying to find the photo or video you're looking for, if you have this stuff organized, you're going to save yourself a lot of headaches. And avoid the vegan bubble. What do I mean by the vegan bubble? I mean, if your newsfeed is filled with nothing but like-minded individuals, other vegans, that's perhaps more fun and more enjoyable, but unfortunately, that's not reality, right? We need to have at least 1 foot grounded in mainstream society so that we, as advocates, understand how to best advocate to the outside public. If we just get caught in a vegan bubble, only associating with people who already agree with us and think like us and act like us, we are going to not learn a lot of information about how others engage on social media. You're also going to miss out on a lot of trends and a lot of interesting things happening in the world if all you're seeing are vegan food pics and protest photos. There is a lot more to life, and as much as I would love to just interact with vegans, I think it's important to remember that we need to really expand that bubble and to talk to, not just disconnect ourselves. Additionally, it's very important for you to reach people who don't already think and act like you. I talked about this earlier. If the only people seeing your content are other vegans, what is the point, right? Why would what good is another vegan going to do from seeing your video of pig at a slaughterhouse? You might make them very sad and they might feel a little bit better about being vegan, but we really need to reach the non-vegans out there. We need them to see our content. So really do what you can to avoid the vegan bubble. And this might seem counterintuitive, everybody, but have outside interests. Show that you are a three-dimensional person with lots of interests. So this is just me posting about some things on my Instagram. I went to a Misfits concert, one of my favorite bands. I went to a soccer game in Mexico with my buddy Thomas. I talked about this cute dog that I saw in Sweden. So whatever you're doing in life, talk about these other things as well. If you are just animal advocacy 24/7, people are going to start tuning you out after a while. So show that you have multiple interests, not just animal advocacy, even if animal advocacy is your primary focus, like it is with me. Now for profile photos, it is ideal to take your profile photos seriously. My recommendation is something somewhat professional for Twitter, something that your friends and family appreciate for Facebook, and for Instagram, you could go with something a little bit artsy or edgy. Now, what actions to actually take on social media? We talked a lot about theory and about good practices, but actually what actions to take? There are lots of things that you can do. You can share posts of others. So these are a few posts that I've done on Twitter, which other people have shared of mine. So it's a cute crab eating a cherry. It's me talking about animal advocacy. And then it's a beautiful hen who has been rescued from a factory farm and is first walking on grass for the first time in her life. So people saw this content that I posted and then they shared it. And you see these videos have been seen thousands or even over 1 million times each. Additionally, what else can you do? You can engage in dialogue. So you can talk with others. So you can talk with people who you're connected with or people you're not connected with. This is Michael Gove, who at the time was, I believe, the Environment Secretary in the UK. And I thought it was absolutely absurd that he was promoting milk. And so I took that as an opportunity to kind of call him out for it a little bit and told him that animal agriculture is one of the leading destroyers of the environment and that he should do better. And what happened? My tweet in reply to his tweet ended up getting more engagement than his tweet. So engaging in dialogue is a great way for you to raise awareness. Post your origin story. Talk about how you became the activist you are today. This is a picture of a VHS tape from 1999 from when I was on the local news with my mom because we were protesting a local deer hunt. This was my first foray into activism, and my mom was the reason that I was the activist, and I am the activist I am today, totally because of my mom. And so she really taught me compassion for animals and compassion for others. And so I talk about my origin story from time to time. And this is something that all of you can do. You don't have to talk about your parents necessarily, but talk about your origin story and how you came to take animal issues seriously and want to do the best you can to help them. Additionally, share great plant-based food, use humor, and of course, the most important thing you can do is work day in and day out to expose cruelty, expose the true reality of what's going on behind these closed doors of factory farms and slaughterhouses. Talk about your relationships with animals and how that had an impact on you. Excuse me, this is my cat, Scoop. He was an amazing, amazing cat. I had him from when I was a kid until my early 20s when he passed away. And he really meant a great deal to me. At the time here, he actually only had 3 limbs. And the reason was he had cancer on his paw, which then spread up his arms. So we had to remove one of his limbs, but he was totally fine. He just hopped around like normal, like nothing was wrong at all. He was great. And so my relationship with Scoop really led me to take other animal issues more seriously and be more open to accepting other animal compassion for other animals into my heart. And so if you have relationships with animals, with cats, dogs, or other animals that you've grown up with or saw at a sanctuary once, talk about that. Ask people to take action on the platform that they're on. So it's best not to send someone somewhere else for a couple of reasons. For one, most people aren't going to take action somewhere else. Additionally, social media platforms don't like it when you send people elsewhere. And therefore, it is very likely that they are going to punish your post in the algorithm if you're sending them somewhere else. And so for me on this video, I asked people to retweet it far and wide. And why was this good? Because people took me up on what I asked. And as a result, this video of a crayfish holding on for dear life has been seen over 7 million times. So again, empower and inspire your audience. Don't just depress them. You've really got to balance the bad with the good out there. And when in doubt, post about piglets, okay? There isn't a soul out there whose heart doesn't just explode when they see pictures or videos of cute little piglets, especially this one keeping warm next to a heater during winter. And know your audience. Know what is going to work with your audience. Yes, I'm vegan. Most people, if not everybody on this call, are vegan. Being vegan is super important. But asking your audience to go vegan 100% of the time, having that be the only thing you ask, sometimes might get people to kind of ignore you over time, tune you out. It's important to have a blend of different kinds of asks and also really understanding what is going to resonate with your audience. So I'm not going to have the same ask of a group of 25, 19-year-old students as I might a group of 20 people over the age of 60. I'm not going to necessarily have them ask the same thing. So it's important to mix up what your ask is. So my ask in this video or in this photo was to stop eating animals, which is a little bit broader and less all-encompassing than just saying, hey, go vegan. And a lot of people respond well to being asked in different ways, especially because of my 80,000 followers on Twitter, only about half of them are vegan, which means half of them aren't vegan. So if I'm saying go vegan, go vegan, go vegan, the non-vegans out there are not going to want to engage with that message, right? Why would they retweet something saying go vegan when they're not vegan themselves? And so it's important to kind of cater in different ways, and this will get you to have more views on your content and more impact for animals. And less is more, okay? So remember that you don't need to write an entire scroll or an entire book about why people should take these issues seriously. So for me, I posted this video. It's a 7-second video of a dog with a tiny little piglet. And I said 7 words with an emoji. Why love one but eat the other? With a thinking person emoji. And this resonated so well, has over 3,000 replies, over 1 million views, over 6,000 retweets, over 30,000 favorites. So people will often respond to simpler messages. So simplicity is key. Additionally, don't post too often or too infrequently. If you post too often, people are going to get annoyed. They're going to tune you out. They're going to stop engaging with your content. If you post too infrequently, they're going to forget that you exist. So try to find this right middle ground with the amount that you are posting. And I think you will know this after you spend some time on social media. You will get a sense of when do I get more engagement? When I'm posting once per day or once per month, and try to find that middle ground that is working just right for you. And again, I talked a little bit about this earlier, but have a variety of content you're posting, both in types of posts, but also content. So don't just do videos, don't just do happy stuff. Do videos, photos, text, links. Do happy stuff, sad stuff, emotional stuff, or educational stuff, funny stuff. Have a variety of content, both in types and content of posts. Other tips or consideration, I'll just rattle through these real quick. I definitely recommend taking a picture of this or screenshotting it. And if you are confused later, just message me. Post natively to every platform. And this is my first time ever doing a presentation with a translator, a live translator. So I'm gonna go fast here. So Ruri, I apologize. You probably won't be able to keep up with me here, but post natively to each platform. Post late morning, early afternoon. That is the best time to post. This could be different. I definitely recommend looking at the insights to see when your audience is most active, but most of the time that is the best time. Having concise captions. So again, don't always post a whole book. I have an 80-20 rule. So 80% of the time I will post short captions. 20% of the time I will post a longer caption. That ratio might be different for you, but definitely invest some time into thinking about what works. Make posts emotional, okay? Social media is not about just documentation. So if you go on vacation and you took 30 really decent shots of the beach, of you and your friend at the beach, of the food you ate. Don't upload all those photos at once. People aren't that interested in that. Choose the one best photo or video and upload that. Social media is not about documentation. It's about making an emotional connection with your users and people you're connected with. Use emojis, even if this doesn't come naturally to you. Use emojis, but don't overdo it, okay? I think 1 to 3 per post is ideal. Never do more than 3 in a row. It's just too much and people are not going to pay attention to what you're actually saying in this. Use social media to network with other people. So on Facebook, and especially Facebook, if you're at a work party and you meet some great people and you think, oh, it'd be really good to connect with us, or if you're at an activist event and you meet some people who would be interested in connect with them on social media right there. Reply to comments, and don't forget that most users on social media are just observers. Okay, many people here on this call might actually actively be liking comments or liking posts and sharing and commenting, but most users are actually passive. They actually aren't doing any of that. So it's important for you to remember this. And don't forget to tag people in posts. Tagging is a great way for you to get them to engage with your content, to give people a way to connect with this person, to make it more likely that they share your content, and so on. When sharing a post on Facebook, write a caption in your own words. And this goes for other platforms too, like Twitter. If you're going to retweet someone, don't just hit the retweet button. Add your own comment, because people ultimately care what you have to think about something, not what some stranger has to think about something. Put Facebook friends into friend lists. This is a good habit to get into every time you get new Facebook friends. Invite people to events in waves. So start with the people who are most likely to attend your event, and the people who are second most likely to attend your event. Do this in 4 or 5 waves, and you will find that you are getting a lot more RSVPs. For one, people will be more likely to see others attending. And for 2, they will be more likely to see someone that they know is attending. And if someone sees an event with someone that they know is also attending, they're more likely to go to that event as well. Video content is, in general, the best content, the kind of content that is most likely to go viral and to be seen by most people. Ads, I feel, are only worth it if organic engagement is unlikely. So in general, so I don't pay to run ads, okay? But if there's something I really think is important that I need to get out there, like let's say a fundraiser or something, or an event that I have coming up where I need a lot of bodies on the ground, boots on the ground, but I don't think organic engagement is going to get, it's not going to get a lot of organic engagement, then paying to run a post or boost a post is worth it. Hashtags are great for Instagram, a little bit on Twitter, and not so much on Facebook. So I really want to see those. I really want to see everybody stop with the Facebook posts with like a dozen hashtags, because people aren't really using hashtags on Facebook, and so people aren't really finding your content through hashtags. So what you're doing is you're making your caption look ugly. You're making it look less sleek and smooth, and you want it to look as crystal clear and as concise as possible. When social media platforms offer new features, experiment with them for a few reasons. For one, you will be better at these features before other people will. And for 2, social media platforms want you to use these new platforms and there are these new features. And why is that important? Because then you will be prioritized in the algorithm. And what did I say earlier? It's you versus the algorithm. And so it's important to experiment with new features and diversify your time across different social media platforms. And then lastly, don't click the like button on your own post. We all know you like your post, otherwise you wouldn't have posted it. Now, dealing with trolls and endless debates, it can happen a lot. As vegans, we are a very small subset of society, and there are a lot of people out there who want to sometimes combat us on social media and so on. But dealing with trolls and endless debates is something that you should try and actually avoid doing. Avoid engaging with them too much. So what I will often do is, if someone says something snappy to me, something rude, I won't just say like, screw you, you're a terrible person and so on. I'll come at them with compassion, and I will just do it in 1 or 2 messages or comments, and then I'll leave it alone. It is not a good use of my energy or any of your energies to spend hours talking to one person who is likely not even that interested in changing. There are so many people out there who are interested, and so it's really important for you to focus on them. So often what I will do is, if I have a few messages back and forth and they're really not getting it, I will just tell them, you can have the last word below, but I'll say something kind, and I'll say, feel free to have the last word below, and then I will be done. And it's a great way to use my time efficiently, because there aren't that many farm animal activists out there, right? But so we each need to use our limited time and resources as effectively as possible. So I will finish on this great quote from the late, great Maya Angelou. So I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And so it's very important that as advocates who want to use social media effectively, it's important for us to make people feel something that inspires them to change their ways to create a kinder world for animals. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much for your presentation. It was amazing what happened during the whole presentation. I was thinking about some question, but then you were answering the question.
That's perfect. That's what I was going for.
Yeah, it was amazing, great advice and great tips, because we don't know the algorithm. We don't know, maybe we never thought about being more effective at Facebook or at Instagram. And maybe we think we are doing the best we can, but yeah, we can do better. And I was listening and thinking, oh, I have to change some stuff at our pages. We really have to review your talk again and take even more notes and do the homework. Nice homework to do. Not this weekend, because we have lots of different presentations, but
after that.
Yeah, we have here some questions. I need my glasses. Okay, so you already answered some of the questions. They were previous to your answers, but yeah, something that bothers people is how to deal with haters and trolls, that comments. Yeah, you told some things, but maybe you could go even deeper, because it's a problem in the vegan community, because sometimes the trolls are vegans. And we want to open more to non-vegans, and then we have our colleagues vegans trolling our work, how to deal with that. And sometimes we know them. Here Portugal is a small country, it's different. Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought this up, and I'm glad that the viewer asked this question. It is so important that we limit our time and resources focusing on trolls for a few reasons. So for one, we are never going to get everyone to like us, ever. It's impossible. By definition, it is literally impossible. There are always going to be haters, whether they're non-vegans who don't like us because we're vegan, or other vegans who don't like us because we're not extreme enough, or other vegans who don't like us because we are too extreme. There's a whole variety. So you are going to get hate, but actually getting hate actually shows that you're being successful, you're being effective. If you are effective enough to get hate from someone, that means that what you're doing is working. And so it's important to actually, you know, accept that and to spend a little bit of time engaging with these individuals, but don't waste too much time and don't let it absolutely ruin your day, and don't let it, you know, don't take it to heart too much. People, especially vegans, sometimes we think so emotionally, not always so rationally. And so that emotion will often lead us to do things or say things that we otherwise normally wouldn't. So it's really important to kind of take everything with a grain of salt and really focus on reaching the non-vegans out there. And of the non-vegans, which remember is like 95% of society, of that 95% of society, focus on the ones who do have an open heart and open mind, which again are the vast majority of people out there.
Yeah, that's something that really worries me about that I see people spending lots of time and lots of energy responding, engaging with it. It's not troll, it's more the hate thing. It's like a chain, and it's like a virus, as Melanie just says, you know, it spreads a lot. So someone is asking if we should remove the hate comments or just ignore them, because if we let them there, it's a seed of hate, or if it's better, in your view, to just clean our page.
There's no simple answer to that. So in the past, I would always remove them. But what's kind of funny is that this is kind of the funny part about social media, is that engagement, which means people liking and commenting, actually improves your place in the algorithm. So even if you have a lot of comments that are like, let's say being a jerk, like let's say you post a picture of a pig in a factory farm and you get a lot of people commenting, bacon. What's actually interesting is every time someone comments, that tells Facebook, like, oh, wow, this is a post that people seem to be interested in. And so we will show it to more people. And so these trolls are actually doing you a service, because when they comment, that tells Facebook, okay, let's push it into more news feeds. And then maybe another 10 or 20 or 100 people see that post because of one person's comment. And so they are actually doing us a favor. That being said, there's certainly a line that can get crossed, whether it's a personal attack, something very sensitive. There could be a variety of reasons where it's just too much, or if someone is just going through all of your posts and just like being really mean and malicious, then yeah, there's certainly lines that can be crossed, and that person is worth blocking right away and deleting their comments. But in general, I tend to leave most troll comments, and that can also be good because people can engage in dialogue with this person, and that also helps the algorithm. So it helps you get more views, but also allows this person, somebody else, to kind of fight your battle for you, which then will also make them more tied to you as an individual and as an activist.
Yeah, I saw that happening too many times, but yeah, maybe you have to choose in the moments between, okay, that service that they don't know they are giving to you, like making your page being more active, or if you don't have the energy just to deal with that. So yeah, but great advice too. Now I have many questions. I don't know how this happened in the end. We have some minutes. Just let me check maybe some that we have not talked about. Okay, on Facebook, that works. Okay, on Facebook, what works better, page or group? Well, I think it's different, yeah, but it's your answer.
So it's tough. Groups are, you're already gonna have a group who is interested in something. So if it's a vegan group, again, there's not a huge grade of good that is going to come out of like posting undercover footage, for example. But if you are trying to promote an event like this event, for example, where people can tune in from anywhere in the world, then it kind of makes sense in these places to post to a group, but in general, pages are better for reaching the greater audience out there.
Now, well, let's do it quickly. Someone is asking, someone has a vegan restaurant, so with a small niche with, what's the words? Comida saudável, healthy foods. And she's asking how to raise the number of followers at Instagram. Yeah, so they are at Facebook, but maybe now she's starting at Instagram. So how to do it? It's different.
So Instagram is gonna be slow and painful in the beginning. So you have to have patience, but some things that you can do: post consistently. So don't just post it once a week and then jump off and then jump back on. Post consistently. Scheduling posts is nice for that. Post good content. So content your audience is interested in. If you notice, like, people really love pictures of your food, but then whenever you post a picture of the outside of the restaurant, nobody engages, then don't post pictures of the outside of the restaurant, okay? Just post the stuff that people are actually interested in. More people will like more of your posts, and that helps. Find community. So find people who are interested in your niche. So if your restaurant is in Lisbon, for example, search hashtag Lisbon vegan, hashtag vegan Lisbon, hashtag vegans of Lisbon, hashtag the Portuguese version of that stuff. So find these individuals, find these posts, other people who are posting about this. This is the lowest hanging fruit possible, right? So engage with these people, comment, even message them and be like, hey, just so you know, we just opened up this vegan restaurant in Lisbon. I see that you're vegan, would love to have you come in sometime. Create these relationships. And, with a restaurant, you only need them to discover you once, okay? And then they can come back on their own once a week or once a month or so on. So those are a few quick tips for getting more followers and more engagement on Instagram.
Yeah, because at Instagram, it's more important to use the hashtags. Yeah, and so someone is asking how to choose the right hashtags.
There are lots of different ways to find the right hashtags out there. My recommendation would be to go to Instagram and just go to the search function and search different hashtags. I think they just call it tags for short, and see how many people are engaging. It's wild how many people are posting about the word vegan. I think it's like 100 million or something. Like it is unbelievable how many posts have the hashtag vegan in there. And so see which hashtags people are using. So for example, of the hashtags I used earlier, maybe there have been 10,000 posts of hashtag vegan Lisbon, but only 75 posts of hashtag Lisbon vegans. And so maybe that tells you, don't waste your time typing out hashtag Lisbon vegans or watering it down with all these extra hashtags if nobody's using them. That's a simple way of doing it. There's also apps out there that will just tell you which hashtag is best. I think there's one called Lee Tags. I think they're on the web too, that basically you'll search a hashtag and see, it'll show you which hashtags are similar. So you could search hashtag vegan. You'll probably see hashtag veganism, hashtag vegans of IG, and so on.
Okay, I see that we're now in the end of the time, but I would like, yeah, we don't have time it's another talk to make lots of other small questions, because now people are interested in how to actually do things, and yeah, that's another thing. But I would like, before you go, just to give some focus to something that you're talking about in your talk that also worries me about, and maybe it's good to talk about it just one more minute again, because I also see many colleagues with lots of content on their pages, the personal one or some group that they have, and then you go to check who is doing who is liking those posts, and some of them, lots of them, have none, and sometimes 2 to 10, but it's vegans, and that's the vegan bubble. And I think it's one of the most important things. It's how to learn to escape the vegan bubble. Concretely, how should we stop following our colleagues? Should we interact with non-vegan friends to stop that? Because it's a pity. Then I see that those people get frustrated because no one is watching and reacting. It's non-effects.
Right. So I'll be really quick with this. I know we're out of time. Basically,
yeah, but it's okay. In Portugal, it's okay to go.
Oh, okay. Good. I like that attitude. So, for one, Instagram doesn't allow you to share. There's no share function, which I think is really unfortunate because people don't have the ability to share. So most of the time on Instagram, you're actually talking to people who've already opted in to seeing your content. And that might be fun and enjoyable, but that again is not reaching the non-vegans. The thing I love about Facebook and Twitter, and there's other platforms that do this too, is the share function. And so if somebody sees something that I post and they hit the share button, then all of their news feed sees it. And so you have more potential to reach more non-vegans on these other platforms, which is why I think, yes, Instagram is great and it's most people's favorite platform, but because there is no share function, don't put all of your eggs into one basket. If you know that saying, don't just spend all of your time and energy on Instagram when Facebook and Twitter is sitting right here and it's this great way to reach more people. Additionally, something else you can do is go out of your way to not only engage with other vegans. The non-vegans you went to high school with or college with, or are your colleagues at your normal professional job, engage with them as well. Engage with their content. Even if you're not that interested in, Maria's kid playing soccer, still give that post a like, maybe comment. That way, the content you're seeing is not just vegan content, but also you'll keep them more interested in your content, and you can then influence them to take these animal issues more seriously. I can't tell you how many times I've had friends from high school, from elementary school, from college tell me that they are now vegan as a result of content they've seen me post over the years. So keep those things in mind.
Yeah, and we have more questions. I don't know if you people allow us just to to keep 2 more minutes. Someone is asking if you felt that in social media, in your social media, there was an interested boom about veganism during the pandemics. If yes, what do you think is the root cause of it?
Did you say that they want to know if there's more of an interest in veganism because of the pandemic?
Yeah, that's what it means.
I have to, it's too hard to say if like more people are interested in going vegan. That data is really hard to retrieve and basically impossible. But I will say that I have seen far more media talking about this, and on social media, more people engaging around this topic, especially because we were talking about wet markets a lot, especially in the beginning, talking about our relationships with animals, talking about the antibiotic usage, talking about more potential pandemics coming from animals. And obviously this has had such a terrible toll on the economy around the world. I feel like people are finally starting to take this more seriously, learning about the horrible things that are going on in factory farms and slaughterhouses, especially to workers. Like in the US here, we've had a lot of media talking about workers being forced to use diapers because they, instead of being able to use a bathroom because of the just terrible working conditions. And so I have seen far more media talking about this issue. And I think that change and progress is very slow and piecemeal. So as much as I would love to say at the headline of every one of these articles, like, okay, and go vegan to fix this problem, we're not quite there, but I think we are making progress in talking about these issues. And that is one small silver lining to this global pandemic is that I think people are starting to take our relationships with animals a little bit more seriously.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, I don't think it's fair to continue to read all the questions because people need the break. And well, I think before going away, I just want to highlight some tips you gave that I think it's very important, like have good content. And what does that mean, good content? You can watch the talk again, because good content, it's not only some of something or some of another thing. So like perfect blends. And you are not your audience. That's so important, something that we must keep in our minds, because sometimes that's the measure we use. Like, I like this thing, so everyone is going to like it. And keeping this in mind, it's an idea from Tobias Lehner that the first time I heard, that's perfect. Yeah, keeping this in mind. And don't be a jerk. That's the great advice you gave, because that changed everything. If we're not a jerk, we can talk about everything.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for your presentation, for all the good tips that we are going to give good use for sure, not only during the pandemics, but yeah, to improve all our organizations or personal profiles for the animals. And a big hug. We see in another time. We hope we can bring you to Portugal next year, like it was supposed this year. I want you to try our food here. Okay.
Yes.
So let's keep our conversation. And now I think I should talk in Portuguese. Talvez. Maybe to. Oh, I'm so confused. Em português agora. Ok. Mudar aqui também o chip. Obrigada a todos por estarem a assistir a esta palestra. Esperamos que tenham gostado dos conselhos e das boas dicas que o João deu. De facto, há muito para pensarmos e revermos para podermos melhorar o nosso trabalho nas redes sociais pelos animais. Como vemos, ao princípio, quando não estamos habituados, pode parecer complexo, mas depois é uma questão de treinar e de sermos pacientes, que é uma característica que um ativista deve ter. Quero agradecer também, para além de toda a gente que nos acompanhou dentro da sala e que colocaram estas questões, e pedir desculpa por as que não conseguimos ler, já passa bastante hora. Agradecer mais uma vez ao Rui. Rui, o teu trabalho de facto é imprescindível para que esta boa experiência possa chegar a toda a gente. Era uma preocupação que nós tínhamos, porque há muito conteúdo a produzir-se no estrangeiro, muito trabalho bom de ativistas que não estava a passar para cá, precisamente por falta de comunicação e desta tradução. Obrigada a todos. John, see you soon. E vemo-nos daqui, neste caso já não é meia hora, daqui a 22 minutos vemo-nos na palestra seguinte da PATAV, que vai nos falar sobre o trabalho de investigação e fiscalização que faz sobre os animais que são transportados por via marítima. Agora, durante o intervalo, a sala fica aberta, a sala vai ficar sempre aberta a tarde toda, vão ficar a passar os slides da nossa feira. Portanto, se quiserem conhecer quais é que são os projetos e as empresas e associações que aderiram ao Veganário Fest, à feira, fiquem também durante o intervalo e até já. Thank you, John.
Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.